Cloud and Clear, the podcast by SADA for innovative business leaders and technology enthusiasts, where we explore how Google Cloud is transforming the industry and what that means to you. Now, here's your host, Tony Safoian.
Jessica Sanders.
How's it going?
Good. Welcome to Cloud and Clear.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Super excited to have you on for many, many reasons. One of which is for how long you've been at SADA.
I just hit my 8-year anniversary on Sunday.
8 years.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say you've kind of created the practice you run right now?
I was part of the creation. It absolutely has been, a team effort, right? Very collaborative along the way, but have watched it grow, which has been really, really exciting. When I was hired as a trainer.
Right.
Because there was just a lot of training work. And we quickly realized that we need more than just training, right? We needed to help our customers actually get to the cloud with more assistance, more hand-holding, more consulting along the way. So that's kind of where it started. So the practice has evolved a lot. I remember the inception of it 8 years ago. And one of the things that's interesting also that you've moved around a lot. You started here in headquarters, went to Chicago, Atlanta, now in Dallas, now in Chicago, just for a little bit.
Make up your mind. No,
I know. I like to travel.
No, I like that. Actually, it fits with all the offices we're opening and all the customers as they're kind of all over now. So it actually helps. So let's start with the inception. I remember, I think it was around 8 years ago when we started to realize the journey to cloud. And at that point, it was mostly G Suite, right? The journey to G Suite was only partly a journey about technology.
Yeah.
And we were like, look, the technical part, yes, important. Especially back then, it was still probably more difficult technically than it is today because there was not a lot of tools. We had to, custom script a lot of things with regards to identity and data migration and other things. But we knew that getting that right, nailing that perfectly was not enough to ensure the success of the customer. So we created training.
Yeah. Show them how to use it.
Show them how to use it. Yeah, they got to know how to use it.
Right.
But how would you describe, I guess, today, current state, fast forward 8 years, what does your organization do? First of all, how big is it now? Where are the people? And then what do we do?
Yeah. So our team has definitely grown. We're at about 9. Including me, soon to be 10. And we are all over the place. So we've got, a good cluster of folks in HQ. We have, Texas, Illinois, New York, Atlanta. So we really are now covering the board here in terms of locations, which is also really helpful just to have a little bit more geographic diversity. Excuse me. And what's also interesting is just looking at the folks who are on the team now. It's no longer just, a training role. We're really looking for people who have background in consulting, people who have background in G Suite, people who have background in communications. We even have somebody who has background in custom dev and development. So we really are diversifying even just our own skill set, which has been really great to see. And this actually helps to address what we do. So it took a little while to really kind of hone this and drill this in. But when organizations make a decision to go to the cloud or to go to G Suite, they're going for a reason, right? And the reason is typically not, well, we just like Google, or no, we just want to save money, right? There's a larger reason, whether that's wanting to increase collaboration or wanting to, really transform the way that they're working to attract more talent. There are larger reasons behind this. And my team helps to drill into those reasons, understand those reasons, and help clients get from point A to point B, because it's ultimately going to go with their end users.
It rocks the boat. Going to G Suite deliberately rocks the boat.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we're there to help, hold the hands and help convey these messages to end users through communications, help to show them how to use the tools, but not just how to use tools day one, but also how can you do your job better, with these tools? How can you learn how to innovate and learn how to collaborate using these tools? And that's really what we do.
In TK's emphasis in the way he describes all the things related to the priorities within Google Cloud, the whole category around G Suite and Chrome and even cloud search and identity, it's called workforce transformation. It's actually how he refers to it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, the word transformation, it's big, but not just because it's being used, but also because that's really the goal for many in terms of what they're wanting to do. We're hearing that a lot more. We want to transform the way that we're working. We're having, especially as these enterprise customers are coming along, these are old, archaic systems that we're looking to really transform, and companies that have been around for a long time really looking to almost redefine their work. Yeah. And so we assist along the way.
Yes. And we've had very traditional, organizations been around for decades or, 100 years.
Hundreds of years. Yeah.
Deliberately choosing this journey. And here's what I say about the whole category of workforce transformation, especially the foundation of which being G Suite. It is the only type of project in IT that replaces the number one used set of applications for 100% of the employees.
Yeah. And sometimes even 150% of the employees, in the sense of they're people who've never even had these tools before, and now they get them.
Right. People that, either were remote workers or a whole category of people that don't sit in front of computers, whether it's in retail or manufacturing, contractors in some cases. Yeah, it's a way for them to bring them all into the fold, right? Of being sort of first-class citizens in collaboration, communication, maybe for the first time ever.
My favorite is a customer we had that were coming from typewriters.
Come on.
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah. So transformation was not just using a computer, but think of how high the bar is going now in terms of totally changing the way that work is being done.
Totally. Wow. Typewriters. I thought Lotus Notes is bad, but
just notes, no Lotus, just notes.
Index cards.
Yeah.
That's how I learned to type. I learned to type on a typewriter.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
I remember that in the whiteout. You had to wait for it to dry.
Dating myself. So how do you engage with the team? I think you guys come in at, different parts. And part of it that's really important that I think works well. Part of the reason I think we run a process that is attractive to our customers and our Google counterparts is you guys get engaged way before customers even made the decision to go Google, right?
Yeah, we actually are part of even just the pre-sales process, in the sense of, helping customers even make the decision, helping them envision what a day in the life would look like using these tools, helping to better understand, the reason why they're wanting to make this shift and tailor kind of a day in the life to various user groups. So really getting them, in hands-on sessions, getting them in the tool, being able to, kind of play around and envision what that could look like.
Yeah, I was meeting with a relatively new field sales manager at Google yesterday in LA. And, a lot of the people that are new in the Google field and Google leadership, they come from technology backgrounds, SaaS backgrounds, enterprise software backgrounds, but maybe have never sold G Suite. They're not even very familiar with the evaluation process of what it takes for a customer to make a decision. And what I love about our process, of which, your organization is an integral part. In fact, it's part of the playbook. It's part of the project plan. And the evaluation is that in this prescriptive mode, we can, if a customer listens to our process and subscribes to our process, we can get a customer to make the most well-informed decision possible within sort of a 3 to 4 month period, regardless of size. Like they could be 100,000 employees or 10,000 employees or 5. The process is very similar. And what I like about the methodology, especially the parts where you guys are engaged, is that regardless of whether they choose to go Google and to adopt G Suite or not, and a lot of the times they do, obviously, but regardless, they come to terms with having made the most well-informed decision process possible.
Well-informed and data-driven even. So it's not even, a gut check at this point of, the small group of people. I think they liked it. It's very tailored to what they want to see, what they want their users to do, very interactive. And at the end, we gather on the spot feedback, asking, is this something that you are interested in using? You could see yourself using, yes, I need more information, or no. And so there's numbers and hard data to go back to.
Can you describe in a little more detail? Because I think it's super interesting. The actual, the data-driven approach, data-driven, SADA core value.
Core value.
The data-driven approach in training, which we've now used for many years. How does that work?
Yeah. So for the evaluation component, we start at the beginning in terms of what are we actually trying to get out of this, right? So big picture, and then whittling that down, making sure that the right people are in the room. So whether it's somebody who, is influential from a more leadership standpoint, or even folks who are influential, who are really the more silent forces and the supporting, cast in there. Special user groups like remote folks. I know a lot of times, we like to bring in a sales group as part of this because they're working remotely and their process needs to be seamless. Executive admins, we make sure to incorporate them, as well as leadership and other stakeholders. From that, at the end, we send a survey, which is really asking, it's getting sentiment of the tool set after having, been in them for a day, and they're in a sandbox environment where they can really kind of play around, and, check boxes for specific tasks, right? So, there's a whole worksheet that has different, are you able to do X, Y, and Z on here? And so being able to say clearly yes or no, we could or couldn't do those tasks. And then, kind of then getting a pulse check on interest and eagerness to try the tools, and then giving an opportunity to even write some feedback. So all of that is, it really is a lot more of a science than an art.
So a lot of the evaluation process is designed around creating work product or output or artifacts that can be delivered to the decision makers at an organization as evidence, right? Like, here's a security audit review, there's evidence. Here's what the technical architecture looks like, and it's been vetted by, the CTO at said customer, and here's the evidence. Yep. In your case, it's like, well, here's all the people that have gone through the various workflows, processes, demos, replication of, whatever, right, that they currently do today, how they would look in the world of G Suite. And here's a survey, like here's evidence.
Yeah.
To say that everybody from the executive admin to sales to C-level to management, here's what they say. And if obviously it's never like 100% of people are super excited about doing this, right. But having that evidence-based support is super important, again, to get, not only to get the customer to make the most well-informed decision, but it does. How do you use that? Does it lay the foundation? Should a customer choose to go make this journey with us? Does that actually set the foundation for the actual adoption, change management, training, delivery work streams later on?
It absolutely does. When we're able to be part of this is where actually somebody on the team, one of my favorite quotes that she says is, everything is data. So having an opportunity to be on site, we're understanding the culture. We're part of the conversations to know the why around it. And so all of this information, we're interacting with the various user groups. We're understanding what some of their, pain points or even just really hot topics, things that they're hoping will change with this. We have that insight, and we're able to then transfer that knowledge into the project and be able to address it that way, which we wouldn't have otherwise been able to capture without this entire process and without the time and due diligence, to manage it.
So you talked about in your intro about, how it started with just training, and that was the full sort of corpus of how we thought about these things and how they've evolved. I think the audience would love to hear about customer stories, specific stories of the part of the project that your team led that was above and beyond training. And what are some of your favorite stories at customers about work that you guys did and the impact that it had?
Yeah. So a top one, which I think anybody who's been around for 5 years at SADA would probably add this. So Colgate is a top story. I think at that point in our kind of SADA-dom, it was huge and a huge milestone for us in terms of just size and complexity. And I know from a change management perspective, even just the level of, communications and talking about translation. This is something that, globally impacted everybody. So 28,000 users around the globe. And really the charge was to lead an increase of collaboration and innovation in the way that they're doing things, which those two words, innovation and collaboration, that's all end user driven, right? So how could we drive this project to help really get people engaged? So Google Guides, what was really cool about Colgate was their Google Guides program, which is the champion peer-to-peer support, right? The question was, how are we going to scale this team of, let's say, 30 people around the world? And so the Google Guides program really was the way to do that. So their guides.
Google Guides is, for those who've never heard of that?
So Google Guides is the peer-to-peer kind of support system. It really is going off of the premise of when you have a question or somebody has a question, let's say day one, week one, about how to use a tool. The first thing that they're going to do, even if you have training available to you, even if you have, documentation and videos available to you, you're going to turn to the person next to you and ask them if they know how to do it. So the thought of Google Guides is, well, let's just plant those people around, right? Exactly. Let's deliberately scale them up and plant them around. And we're looking for people who are excited, who are, enthusiastic about this change. Oftentimes people who are familiar with the technology and really just kind of go the extra mile to learn a little bit more about it and like helping people. So we're seeking out those types of people. A lot of times they come out of the woodwork as soon as you make the announcement that you're going Google. And so in this case, it was the same. And so there were leads, not only in the US here, but there was a lead based in Ireland, there was UK, and then a lead based in India. Just to help, kind of wrangle those regions of people. And so a guides program was put together where they actually had launch day events, which means the day of global go live. There were booths set up, info centers, info booths where people could come and ask questions. It was really up to each location to determine what that looked like. We have a slide deck of over 200 slides with just different pictures from around the world. And all of these things involve food, by the way. Yeah. There are cupcakes and, lots of cake, T-shirts, different colors, on the booths and such. And it really just created a positive buzz and a place where people could go when they had questions, but also, it was something that was exciting for people around the world.
Yeah. And look, enthusiasm is infectious. And even at the most traditional, conservative, doesn't like change, hasn't had change for many years, that are organizations that are inertia driven, even within those organizations, you'll find this critical mass of people that are actually excited.
Yeah.
And part of what your team does is sort of harness, first of all, identify those people. And sometimes we're surprised, and even the leadership is surprised. Oh my God, there's 500 people that want to be Google guys. holy cow, we have to turn people away. They usually don't expect that level of enthusiasm. But to identify them, recruit them, get them excited, get them enabled to become kind of like the SMEs, before go live and at go live and ongoing, to A, feel special, B, be ahead of the curve, but also contribute to the actual cultural transformation that's about to take place at company X. I'm surprised. And actually, well, not anymore. I was surprised in the beginning, but it's amazing to see how many people want to be an agent of change at our customers. Change agent, be change. That's also
be a change agent. There's another. We're 2 out of 5.
Are we playing SADA core values bingo?
We are. We're almost there.
But there's a lot of people that want to be those agents of change, and that's just super exciting. And I think even the leadership at our clients they get excited when they see that.
It never gets old. It never gets old. I always want to see pictures. I always love seeing, people get really creative around it. They put themes in it. For a healthcare organization, they went with like a sports theme. So their info centers were called benches, and their guides were called coaches. So it can be taken in a lot of different directions. And it's always, in my opinion, one of the most fun things to see just evolve on its own.
So another evolution in our approach to our customers, and at this point we have hundreds and hundreds of customers that are our clients, and we service them with technical support and customer success and account management. One of the things I'm really proud of is something like, not including add-ons and upsells or anything like that, but on a pure sort of nominal basis, 98% renewal rate in our G Suite business, which is fantastic.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Something we realized is customers after the first 6 months, a year, 2 years, there's actually a lot more work to do than we thought. They're wanting more. They're asking for more. So we've shifted and created an approach to customer success way above and beyond like just reviewing roadmaps and things. Can you describe what an engagement looks like 2 or 3 years after someone's been on a platform? Like, what's the work that we're discovering that your team is delivering way beyond phase 1, phase 2, phase 3?
Yeah. So what's interesting is, and even just thinking about kind of this curve, going back again to 2009, 2010, 2011, the people or the organizations that were really, diving in headfirst, what we would call the early adopters of technology. So there's lots of higher education. There's some smaller, more agile companies, or just, folks who wanted to hop in. They're comfortable and confident, but, a lot of it was even the tool itself was evolving. So what we have seen is that with time, people come back, and I'd say probably that 1.5 to 2 year mark, there's this light bulb that goes off. It's a lot of high fives and hugs after the go live. Everyone, great job, And then I think some people get swept away into other projects. There are groups of folks who stick around to help really, kind of drive the usage and adoption of the tools. But after about 1.5 years, we see people come back with more strategic lens, with this light bulb kind of flashing over the head, like, so we have these tools that we're paying for, and now we have a lot of other tools that overlap in terms of features, or people aren't using these the way that we intended them to use it. Like, they're just not necessarily picking it up and realizing all of what they can do with these. So they're coming to us to better, really to make this change more sticky for their users. And they're really revisiting back the conversations that we had early on about, the things like transformation and innovation, and how can we do that? How can we get users to use this tool better? We've got people duplicating efforts, or just they have manual processes. My favorite, especially with healthcare, processes that are still using paper.
Right.
And I have to take this and using interoffice mail. And so let's talk about that. And so they're looking to us to help them really change and re-engineer their processes and their workflows.
Yeah, obviously we have to prioritize certain very core things in the beginning, and all the emphasis is around the data migration and the basic training and some of the key workflows and integration points and identity and security, all that stuff. But, I've had this experience too, visiting clients around the country. I visited a customer who's been on the platform 2-3 years, I'm at their front desk and I'm like signing in my name on a piece of paper. Oh my God. They have one of those like paper sign-in forms, like for visitor logs. Like, don't they know?
Every time you have to do it same way over and over.
but no, I think it's bi-directional. I think we realize that really we all, like, we're responsible for driving those conversations on an ongoing basis. And I think Noah and his team do an incredible job of that, to remind the IT organization and other stakeholders, and certain customers have actually identified, like, they have titles now, like, Google champion, director of Google, something, they create these new roles, which is, I love to see. But even if they don't have them, like, we find those champions and drive the point home around direct ROI, direct replacement of roadmap. And, hi, do you have a guest in your office? Hi. It's okay. We can say hi. It's not a super pet friendly. And the onus is on us, but sometimes the customers themselves, to your point, realize after a while, like Ted Ross, the CIO of City of LA, told me one time, he's like, it's so crazy. Like, we have Google Meets, but this department is asking for an RFP for WebEx. And like, why? And how do we, change that? And I think it is our job at SADA to continue to drive value from even a direct ROI standpoint. Like, let's go and see, this new thing that was released on G Suite can replace X. Like, we have to be proactive around that, right? And I think you guys get involved in those conversations as well.
Yeah. And sometimes we get involved in those conversations early on, where we have kind of on our radar, through workshops that we conduct, or it's part of the early on conversations just in general. But then again, once the dust settles, it's beginning to look at what those look like. And I have been fortunate enough to be able to, go on site. So 100 in healthcare, for example, I go on site every month, and there's something to be said about just being ingrained in a culture.
Yes.
And being able to just understand if in every day, let's say somebody's doing something and I'll be like, can you just explain to me why we're doing it this way? Okay. Have you considered, X, Y, and Z? Have you considered using Google? And it's like, oh, well, I didn't even think about it that way. So there's absolutely still a value to help connect those dots between the old way of working and the possibilities, because things are constantly changing. New things are, constantly being rolled out. And it's really up to us to help our customers stay up to speed with that too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think part of it is for larger organizations, we're realizing, the reason Scott Jensen came on board for this new type of function to create this organization within SADA that, creates more of a framework for just having on-site time and talk business and strategy with a small set of customers that are yours and market. Because I think that lays the foundation for a lot more of, you guys then fly in and get deeper in some areas, just again, to make sure, like, look, you're paying for this thing. It does a bunch of things. You're using 30, 40, 50% of its capabilities. Why not 100%? And I think some customers, within IT and other, the budget office, et cetera, create actual policies that are like, if you're asking for anything new, you have to describe why Google can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. The
only way you buy this, whether it's a Microsoft Office license or a WebEx or whatever, like anything, like describe to me, it's G Suite first, Google first. Oh, okay. There's like this edge case. Okay, great. You can have 5 licenses for that. But we're not going to go in this continued direction of complete chaos and all this consumer technology or other technology that makes it into the enterprise, because it actually makes everyone's job more difficult. People can't collaborate as easily in a completely mixed environment. Also, costs and security get out of control. So I think we feel a great deal of responsibility to make sure we continue to drive that point home with our customers.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just as easy as, showing them how to even think through that, because, these are habits that have been grown for 20 plus years. So sometimes it really is just a matter of not even thinking it through. So even some of, customers, when they now are imaging new laptops, for example, like they won't put Office on it. So they're going to make people ask for Office. And what do you need, these tools for? So just even to get people to start thinking a little bit more critically about what they're doing and the tools that they're using to accomplish those tasks.
Awesome. So you get the benefit of being in that seat where you see all the new stuff before it's out. Google's making these announcements, beta, we get access to Trusted Tester and these kind of things. And you also are on the cutting edge of seeing how the needs are evolving, how our sales process evolves, how our implementations are evolving. Like from a forward-looking standpoint, what are the types of things you're the most excited about?
So what's really exciting and really cool right now is the journey beyond. I think not to, disparage kind of the getting to the cloud, because I still think that that's really exciting, especially with different kinds of customers and as that grows, and even just the ability that the team has now to deepen our expertise in the tools, in the things that people make careers out of, like communications and training and consulting, and how to really, marry all these things together to truly be able to guide our customers in direction that suits them, whether they, 100,000 users or 5,000 users, and be able to scale in both ways and keep up with best practices and industry trends. But once customers are in the cloud, I think that's where the journey begins ultimately, right? People aren't coming to switch email and calendar. Again, they're coming for collaboration. They're coming for innovation. That starts when they're at the cloud. So then we can start having these larger conversations about, using tools to automate, certain processes that they have, and always really, looking at Google Forms, which are always a fun thing for me, App Maker, App Script. And those are a lot more, not one size fits all, but very tailored and really listening to customers and understanding the needs that they have, whether it be from, a team or an overarching goal that they have, and really helping to guide them, to strategize, to consult, and to ultimately help them realize, some of those larger goals that they have, capturing those success stories, being able to share it with them and being able to share it with others.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're just scratching the surface with what's possible. I see new things being released, like new workflow capabilities and new sort of AI and ML kind of being built into Docs and Drive that automates so many things we used to do manually. It's clear that Google Cloud is investing in G Suite from a product standpoint, which is super exciting to see. And I think that keeps our work really interesting. And and your team can't really sit around and just do the same program, even like months apart. We have to evolve our approach and the curriculum. Which is I think super exciting. Yeah. For us and for you, and frankly for the customer.
Yeah, it keeps us all on our toes, that's for sure. And constantly just, learning more of the needs and helping our customers to again, realize and align with the decision that they made. I think that is what is really cool. And that's why we're here in the first place, right?
Totally. Well, Jessica Sanders, I'm used to that now. I know you've been married for a while now, but
it took me about a year to change it.
Jessica Hilton was original.
The originator, yes.
But, thank you for everything that you do and your organization does. You built a tremendous team that's actually getting quite big now. And like I've said for a while, the degree of success at a customer has completely to do now with their ability to adopt and leverage the platform. It's really the change management and adoption and training that makes or breaks a project. And your team does an exceptional job with your leadership. Appreciate everything you do. And I think the ecosystem is going to be super excited about hearing from you.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. Just happy to be here and talk about this stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Cloud and Clear. Check the show notes for links to this week's topics. And don't forget to connect with us on Twitter @Cloud and Clear and our website, sada.com. Be sure to rate and review the show on your favorite podcast app.